This is the Litter Robot 4 by Whiskers. So before I jump into the review of this litter robot, let me tell you my scenario, because you might find some correlation between my story and your story. So if you're experiencing the same struggle that I did when we first got our cat, then rest assured, because at the end of this video, you will also find the solution as I did. So litter box, they're very typical. They're very non-technical, I guess. It's just a box filled with litter. Your cat does its business. And then when it's done, you let it sit for a little bit so the clumps can form, and then you use a scooper to scoop it out. Pretty simple, right? This is what I used as a kid to take care of my cat. My dad didn't splurge on any fancy litter box. He pretty much went out and got a plastic container and the cheapest litter he could find, and that's what we had to deal with, right? As a kid, I didn't really notice the smell. I don't know if my parents did, but as an adult with hypersensitive smell, I am much more aware of cat feces that are in the litter box. Ammonia smell that you get from cat urine is just, whew. And some of you are probably like, well, then why'd you get a cat? I mean, we love cats. We love animals. The kids, they love animals. And so, you know, a cat was a no-brainer. They asked for one. We gave them a list of chores that they're going to have to do, and they agreed to it. And so that's ultimately why we got the cat. And my son hasn't been slacking. You know, it's his job to refill the water and food bowl and also clean the litter box. And he's been doing an amazing job. You know, shout out for him for being 8 years old and taking on this responsibility without complaint. However, even with the most expensive litter brand that we can get, that smell, man, we cannot conquer that smell. And we really thought that we'd be able to if we were to get like an expensive litter and then clean the litter maybe twice a day. We really thought that we can get in front of the litter smell. Our first litter box, it wasn't a fancy litter box, but it wasn't a standard litter box. It came with 2 pans, a strainer, and a hood. And the idea behind it is that you put one pan in the other pan, and then you put the strainer in that pan, and you fill it with litter. The cat will do its business. When you're ready to scoop it out, you just pick up this strainer and it will strain out the the clumps. And it sounds brilliant, right? It sounds like it makes sense. However, the execution of it wasn't very good. Number one, the strainer is very thick, so it's like there's like that much space. And so what will happen is that when the cat urinates, the urine will make it all the way down to the pan, right? And so it will clump up like that. And so when you pick up the strainer, part of that clump is still stuck to the bottom of the pan. So it breaks up and then it contaminates the entire litter box. You can't clean it anymore because it's too fine for any poop scooper or the strainer. And then on top of that, the gaps were too big for the strainer. And so little poop pieces were falling through the strainer and right into your clean litter. So what we decided to do was get rid of the strainer and try a pooper scooper. And the pooper scooper did a little better, but we were still having the same exact issue. No matter how much litter we put in the litter box, we were putting almost 2.5 inches of litter in there. The urine will make it to the bottom of the pan and it will stick to the bottom of the pan. And so when you took the poop scooper, you would have to point it down at an angle to try and scoop up that urine clump. And what ends up happening is that you more than likely will end up breaking the urine clump, and then it starts getting everywhere. There are times where we were able to successfully extract the urine clump, but most of the times it would just break up in the litter box, and that's what would cause the smell. Because we weren't able to thoroughly get it out of the litter box, it would smell up the room. So we experimented, with different litter brands. We just couldn't tackle that smell. And it's not the work that was the problem. My son took on the responsibility with no issues, and he was on top of his game, Did some research on automated litter box, and I came across the Litter Robot 4 as being the best overall automated litter robot. However, I couldn't sit with the price because it was $600. That was way too much to spend on a litter box. So I shopped around for alternatives, did a ton of research, and the 3 alternatives that I came across was number 1, the Scoop Free Classic Self-Cleaning Litter Box. There was 2 problems with this though. Number one, it didn't take regular litter. It uses this crystal granules that, you know, didn't do anything for clumping but helped eliminate smell. And then number two, it used a rake system, and a lot of people complained that for the most part the rake did the job, but urine clump pieces or poop clump pieces would make it through the rake and sit in the litter box. Even after the cleaning cycle, it would cause some smell. So then I moved to a second alternative, which is the Cat Genie. Now this one had even more problems than the Scoop Free. Number one, you had to run a pipe into your toilet. Number two, you had to connect it to a water valve. Number three, there was no litter in the box itself. Instead, what it used was plastic granules that did nothing for smell and did nothing for clumping. Number four, you had to get this sanitized solution that they sell in order to use the litter robot. If you ran out of solution, the litter robot would not function. The fifth and last problem was that some people complained that feces would remain in the litter box even after the cleaning cycle. But what would happen was that the dryer would come on to dry the plastic granules, and so the little poop pieces would get heated up and it would cause this awful smell. When I saw all of those cons, I was like, nope, forget it, skip. I'd be better off going with the Scoop Free Classic. And mind you, the Scoop Free Classic is a very old system. It's been around since I was a kid taking care of a cat. The third alternative was the Litter Robot 3. And this was a great alternative because it was a little bit cheaper. Not by much. It was like 5 something. So just a little tiny bit cheaper. But the reviews for it, you know, people said, hey, this does have its cons. Number one, the opening is small. So some cats do not like using it because it's a small opening. And then number two, a lot of people said that took it apart to clean, it would be a hassle. And they said that a lot of those issues were fixed in the Litter Robot 4. So if you're looking at the Litter Robot 3, just get the Litter Robot 4. And so I sat with this for like weeks, you know, going back and forth with my wife whether it was worth it or not. And then finally, you know, she was just like, if you don't buy it, I'm gonna buy it. And so I was like, all right, fine, I'll order it. So I ordered it. So right away, the first thing that we noticed with the smell was, I wouldn't say it was completely gone, but then again, I have ultra sensitive nose, so I can still smell hints of it, but it's not nearly as bad as the dumb litter box that we had before. It's a lot better, a lot more bearable. As a matter of fact, we've had guests come to the house and not able to detect any smell of a litter box. So that right there told us that, hey, this thing works. In terms of eliminating smells, it works. And that was our main goal that we wanted to solve, which was the smell. The bonus is that, you know, my son, his chore dropped from cleaning the litter box every day to emptying the bag once a week. So every Saturday, takes out the bin, he takes out the bag and he throws it away and he puts a new bag inside the bin. And he loves it. And also, I really think my cat loves this Litter Robot too, because her litter is always clean. I feel like she doesn't really need to go, but she will go just because this cat be using that litter bot like 4 or 5 times a day, which is ridiculous. Like she never used to use the old litter box like that. She would do like 2 times, 3 times a day, but yeah, now she's going like 4 or 5 times a day. So I do think that having a clean litter really is beneficial to the cat themselves, because they know that the litter is clean and they feel more comfortable using it. So she's a huge fan of the Litter Robot. So the way the Litter Robot 4 works is very simple. Stupid simple, actually. There's a drum, pour the litter in it. The cat is done using its business. There's sensors that detect the cats and takes the cat's weight. And then when the cat is done, a timer will kick on. It will give the litter enough time, or the time that you set, for the clumps to form. And so after that timer is done, the drum will start to rotate. So the first thing that happens is that the clean litter goes into the chute. And then after all the clean litter is in this chute, there is a hole that leads to the waste at the bottom. And so the clumps, they just fall right into that hole, into your waste bag. The drum will rotate the opposite direction and the clean litter will come out of its chute. Super simple, but yet highly effective. And throughout the months that we've owned this thing, I could say that there's only been like 1 or 2 times that I've noticed clumps, little clumps, still in the litter box even after its cleaning cycle. I've rarely seen remains after a cleaning cycle. It does a really good job. They designed the grate for where the clean litter goes in. They designed it very well so clumps do not get in. Even small little tiny clumps don't get in. And it does a really good job at keeping those clumps together until it reaches the waste container. That's the biggest problem with trying to scoop your own litter. You can end up breaking those clumps and it contaminates the litter. They're too small to be scooped up by the poop scooper. Just the only solution is to just throw out the litter and start fresh again. But this Litter Robot 4 does an amazing job at keeping those clumps together and putting it where it belongs. And so because it's so effective in scooping the litter, it means that you can use your litter longer. It's been almost 2 months since we have this Litter Robot, and the litter that's inside the Litter Robot 4 right now is the same litter that I put in when we first got the machine. All I do is I just add more litter when the litter gets low. By doing that, I realized, wow, this is actually saving us money with litter. We bought this box of litter when we got the Litter Robot 4, and we still have enough litter to carry on for another 2 months. Before, what we were doing was when the smell got really bad, we threw out the entire pan of litter. So it's safe to say that this Litter Robot 4 is highly effective, which causes me to save money on litter. Win-win. All right, with that out the way, here are the things that I like about the Litter Robot 4. Number 1, very happy with how it eliminates your typical litter box smell. Number 2, it's worry-free. You know, you set it and forget it. 1 time a week, we change out the waste container. And like I said, it doesn't smell. Number 3, it is much more sanitary than if you were to scoop it. One thing I noticed is that when my son went to go clean the litter, he would always spread the litter in the pan all over the floor. Sometimes clumps would fall off the pooper scooper and it would land on the floors. Number 4, it's way more effective than scooping. And I don't think I have to say anything to, defend that, because it just is. Number 5, this thing will monitor your cat's weight. Now, with a dumb litter box, right? You don't know your cat's weight. You don't know how much the cat's weight fluctuates, You don't know unless you take your cat to the vet like every month. Just using the Litter Robot, I can tell you right now that when we first got the Litter Robot, my cat was at 8.9 pounds. And now she's at 8.5. I know, and I'm not alarmed by it. After getting acclimated to us and this house, she's been way more active, running up and down the stairs, so it makes sense why she's losing weight. Had I not had the Litter Robot, I would have had no idea of what her weight was. But because I know her weight, I can keep tabs on her health. Number 6, like I said, our cat loves this Litter Robot, because she just finds every reason to use it. Number 7, like I said before, less contamination to the overall litter in the litter box. And when I say less contamination, I mean clumps are not breaking up and polluting, the clean litter. Number 8, the cat always has a fresh, clean litter bed. Number 9, the waste pan was designed with users in mind. It has the opening of a regular kitchen trash can, and so the trash bags that we use in the kitchen, they fit very nicely over the waste container. And number 10, because it has app support, it can tell you when to empty the waste container or add fresh litter. While we're on the topic of app, let me show you the Whisker app. So this is what you're greeted with as soon as you launch the app. You can see your Litter Robot. Right off the bat, I can see the waste container is 50% full. I can go ahead and press on it. It'll give me more information. So it's saying that I need to refill the litter. So it is running low on litter. And then again, it's saying that the waste is 50% full. It's showing that my cat's weight right now, the last reading was 8.7 pounds. It gives me recent activity, so I can see when the clean cycle started, when the pet weight was recorded, when the clean cycle completed, when a cat was detected, all that good stuff. And then if I click on history, I'm given even more information. So this is a week glance, this is a month glance. So for week 1, we had a little over 4 cycles per day. Week 3, we had almost 8 cycles per day. So then if you scroll down, you see even more information. So we have here 107 clean cycles this month. So that's about 3.8 average cycles per day. And if you go down, you have monthly robot history. So, it'll give you the highest weight, the lowest weight, the number of cats detects, and the number of cycles. So this number, they should match. If it's one off, that's fine. So it's saying that it detected my cat 28 times and it cleaned itself 29 times. That means that everything is working correctly. All the sensors are working. For week 2, we have a more unified number. So we have 27 cat detects and 27 cycles. So that gives you an idea of the litter robot and how well it's performing. So if you have like 27 cat detects, you only have 10 cleaning cycles, then right off the bat something is wrong with your litter robot 4, and you can investigate and try to figure out what's going on. So that's really cool from a technical perspective. I used to be a technical service engineer for Xerox back in the day, and this is the kind of data that we would look at to determine how well the machine is functioning. So excellent source of information to keep your litter robot running pristine. And then if we go over to controls, again, we have a little brief overview of the litter robot 4, litter level and the waste level. And then at the bottom of that, we can turn on and off the machine. We can lock the panel. We can turn the light on and off, and we can enable sleep mode. Sleep mode will basically disable the cleaning cycles during a set parameter. So if your cat uses the litter, the robot won't kick on. However, this thing is so quiet that we don't hear it at all. And the litter robot is right outside of our room door. So it is within earshot of me and my wife, but we still can't hear it when it operates at night. So we don't even use sleep mode. And if you go to manual cycle, you can launch a manual cycle yourself if you see that there's still some feces or urine inside the litter and you just want to clean it out. You can do that yourself on the app or on the panel. And then if you go into advanced settings, you can change the cycle delays. This allows you to set the timer for after the cat is done doing its business. I have it set to 7 minutes and it seems to do the trick. The clumps are formed nice and strong. If you want to set a longer timer, you can do 15, 25, 30 minutes. The choice is yours. You have replace filter. You can change the name of the robot. I just kept it at Litter Robot 4. Reset to factory setting and delete robots. And then of course, if you need to order anything like extra bags, you can click on the shop button and you can shop their store. Now here are the things I don't like about the Litter Robot 4. Number 1, I feel like the app is more focused on selling you more things than it is with supporting you with what you have. When I first followed the instructions to download the app to connect my Litter Robot 4, right away it took me to the store and started showing me, litter robots to buy. And I was like, I just bought this. Like, why are you showing me that? I already have it. Take me to the page where I can add my litter robot. The thing that didn't make sense to me is if I'm downloading the app, that means that I already have your product. So why are you selling me on it? I'm not going to download your app just so I can buy your litter robot. You're not Amazon, The second complaint I have is I've noticed that when we use black kitchen trash bag, it messes with the sensors. So it takes a minute for the sensors to read that the waste container is empty. And so after changing out the bag for like a good 2-3 days, even after I reset it, the Litter Robot 4 will still claim that, the waste container is 20-30% full. Sometimes when it's at like 70% full and we change the bag and we use another black trash bag, it will drop from 70 to like 40, 45. So the black trash bags definitely mess with the sensors. So clear plastic bags would be ideal because the bags that they sell you are clear. However, I don't care too much about the empty sensors. We kind of have a workflow going on. Every Saturday, my son changes out the bag. We don't need an app to tell us when to change it out. It's one less cost that we have to spend. So we're going to continue using it. But just thought I'd let you guys know. Number 3, I've noticed that after the cat does its business and the timer runs out and it starts the cleaning process, all of a sudden it will stop. And when I check the app, it says that the cleaning cycle was interrupted. By what? Like the cat did its business, left, the timer counted down, and then it started this cleaning cycle and then stopped. So my best guess is that the litter box itself is triggering the safety sensor, and it's causing the cleaning cycle to get interrupted. And it happens quite often, but I'm not too concerned about it because, after the timer for the interruption ends, it'll continue cleaning. So number 4, this thing is $600, and if you think that you're gonna price watch it to when the price drops, you're dead wrong. It ain't gonna happen. You either buy it now or you don't buy it. This thing will not drop in price, and the reason is because Whiskers, they build the Litter Robot 4 per order. It sends your order to their manufacturer plant, and they build it per order and ship it out to you. Because this thing took a month for us to receive it. And so, I was so confused because I didn't know at first that it was built to order. But during the tracking stages, when I was tracking it, they told me that right now your Litter Robot 4 is being built and tested. It makes sense for Whiskers, if they're not selling a lot of these, they can save on manufacturing. But it does mean that you are going to be waiting a while until you receive your Litter Robot 4. One good thing though is that when they build it and test it, they ship it just like that. They ship it as. So this thing is ready to go right out of the box. You pull it out the box, plug it in, and add your litter, and bam, you're ready to go. It means no assembly for you. Number 5, I don't know how I feel about the $600 price tag. That's a little steep for me. Even though it does everything that I wanted a automated litter robot to do in my head. Does everything. Even though it does everything, I still think $600 is way too much. When you get the device and you look at it and you actually see what kind of machine it actually is, you're like, wow, $600 for this? No way. No way. I've seen machines that can cost like $30,000, $40,000. I've seen what's inside those machines. And I can tell you that the Litter Robot 4, there is nothing fancy inside those machines. Even the sensors that detect the weight and the optical sensors that detect the waste in the container. The Xerox machines that I worked on also had a bunch of these sensors to look at paper and whatnot. And these sensors were like dollars. That's how much they cost, right? There's no component on this Litter Robot that I could see that would justify the $600 price tag. Number 6, the top piece. I don't know what the heck they did, but this top piece it cheapens the whole entire thing. This top piece doesn't really lock down securely, and so the two sides, they have a clip that clips in, but the top, it's just a lip that fits onto the top housing of the Litter Robot 4. And so what happens is that, it's just a lip, so it's not securely attached. And so often it will just leave a gap between the front of the Litter Robot 4 and the top. And I've tried everything to get rid of this gap, but it's just a poor design that they did. Maybe the top cover from my Litter Robot 4 wasn't manufactured properly. Maybe the lip isn't as deep as it should be. If you have this problem as well, let me know in the comment section below. Even if you don't, let us know also. And then number 7, the Litter Robot 4 comes in 2 colors, 2 flavors. You got black and you have white. Now we went with the black because, of our interior of our couch and everything. Kind of wish we went with white because with the black, the dust from the litter is way more visible. No matter how many times you clean it, it often looks dirty. So if you don't want that, I would suggest going with the white Litter Robot 4. And there you go. That's my likes and dislikes. Like I said before, this thing does everything that I dreamed of a litter robot doing. It's a stupid simple design, but it's very effective in how it executes cleaning the litter. It's cost effective because it means that you won't be using as much litter as you normally would with just a litter box. It helps eliminate smells because it keeps all the waste centralized in a waste container. It holds a decent amount of waste, so if you have one cat that doesn't go often, you could potentially go 2 weeks before changing out the waste container. So it's, essentially worry free. The only 3 things that you really need to do is to top off the litter every now and then, empty the waste container either weekly or bi-weekly, whichever you're comfortable with, and number 3, clean the entire machine at least once a month. Those are the only 3 things you have to do, and that's still far less than what you would have to do if you had a traditional dumb box filled with litter. That does it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you found it helpful, be sure to give me a thumbs up. And if you didn't, thumbs down work also. Leave me a comment if you have any questions. I'll answer them. And I'll catch you in the next one. Hasta luego, muchachos. Peace.